Welcome to the video tutorial for One for My Baby, pattern number 24 in the Stardust Melodies Crochet Along series. I'm Polly and I'll be your host. If you'd like more information about the crochet along, please visit everytrickonthehook.com or everytrickonthehook on Facebook. For this video, I'll be using Aran weight yarn and a 5.5mm crochet hook. Let's get started. We'll begin by making a double magic circle. Take your yarn and wrap it around your fingers twice. Insert your hook into the loops on your fingers and pull up a loop of your working yarn. Remove the loops from your fingers and hold them securely so that you can pull the working yarn tightly around your hook. Then chain 1 to secure your loops, and now you can make your round 1 stitches into the magic circle. To do that, single crochet into the magic circle and then chain 2. Do that a total of 4 times. So single crochet again, chain 2. That's 2 times. Single crochet again, chain 2, that's 3. Single crochet, chain 2, that's 4. Now, to close our magic circle, what we're going to do is find our yarn end and make sure it comes out straight from the circle. So if you need to untangle it at all, go ahead and do that. Mine does, it just kind of comes out from the back. So I'll leave it like that. And what I'm going to do is pull on the yarn end just a little bit until I see one of the loops start to close. I don't want to close it all the way, I just want one of them to get a little bit smaller so that I can identify it. When I identify which loop gets smaller, I'll pinch it and pull at the top. Pull at the top until the other loop closes all the way. Then I'll go back to my yarn end and pull on it until both loops are closed. Now I can go back to my round 1 stitches and join them with a slip stitch into both loops of the very first single crochet that we made, a slip stitch which I will pull tight to make it small, and that is round 1. Now for round 2, I'll begin by chaining 1. After that, what I'm going to do is single crochet into the back loop only of the very first stitch, which is the same stitch that has the slip stitch in it from the previous round. So the same stitch that we slip stitched into, I'm going to insert my hook into just the back loop only, pull up a loop, and then make a single crochet. After that, I'm going to work into the next chain 2 space by making a corner. Our standard corner for the entire pattern is going to be single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. That's what we'll make into all the chain 2 spaces throughout the entire pattern. Okay, now I'm going to do that all the way around. So into the next stitch, into the back loop only, I'll make a single crochet. Then into the chain 2 space, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet again. Then into the next stitch, into the back loop only, another single crochet. Into the next chain 2 space, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet again. Into the next stitch, under the back loop only, single crochet. Now we're at the last chain 2 space, so I'll do the same, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet again. Alright, we've gone all the way around, now we just need to join. To join, simply slip stitch to the top 2 loops of the very first stitch. Slip stitch and pull it nice and tight to make it small. That's the join we'll do for every single round. We'll always slip stitch to the very first stitch to join and then pull our slip stitch tight. If you have trouble finding the very first stitch, I recommend each round, after you make the first stitch, pop a stitch marker into both loops of that very first stitch. That will make it easier to find when you come back around so that you don't accidentally slip stitch into the chain 1 space that starts our round. So that is round 2. Now for round 3. Round 3 is one you're actually going to repeat later in the pattern. So pay attention, I'll show you what to do here. We're going to start with a chain 1 and single crochet in the back loop only of that very first stitch. And now your instructions are to single crochet in the back loop only of each stitch across to the next corner chain 2 space. On round 3 there's only one stitch before the chain 2 corner, so you just need to do that once. Single crochet in the back loop only of that next stitch. But when you repeat this round later there will be more here, so just keep that in mind. Then when you get to the corner chain 2 space, make your usual single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet again in that corner chain 2 space. After that, single crochet in the back loop only of each stitch across the side to the next corner. When you get to the next corner, you make your usual corner, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Then single crochet in the back loop only of each stitch across the side. So in round 3 there's only 3 stitches across until you get to your next chain 2 space, but again in future rounds there will be more there. So just single crochet in the back loop only of however many stitches you have across the side. Get to your corner, make your usual single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet again. We'll do this all the way around. Single crochet in the back loop only of each stitch across to our last corner. In the corner, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Okay, so we've done our last corner. Now all we need to do is single crochet in the back loop only of each stitch across to the first stitch. In round 3 there's only one stitch left, so under the back loop only I'll single crochet. In future rounds there will be more there. So in future rounds just single crochet in the back loop only of as many stitches as you have until you get to your first stitch. Make sure you're very careful not to work into the slip stitch that you made. And then when you get to the very first stitch, under both loops of the very first single crochet, insert your hook and make a slip stitch. Pull that slip stitch tight, and that is round 3. Now what I want you to do is go ahead and repeat round 3 for round 4. So round 4 will be made just the same way, there'll just be a few more stitches on each side. So repeat round 3 for round 4, and I will meet you back here and we will do round 5 together. Now for round 5. You should have already done round 4 just as a repeat of round 3, so just a basic round of single crochet in the back loop only. And now for round 5 we're going to start by chaining 1, and the very first stitch we're going to make is going to be a treble into the front loop only of the stitch 3 rounds below our very first stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count from my very first stitch right here. I'm going to count these horizontal bars downwards. Each of those represents 1 round below. So I'm going to count straight down from my first stitch, 1 round below, 2 rounds below, and 3 rounds below is this little horizontal bar here, which is actually the round 1 stitch. There was only 1 stitch per side in round 1, so we're going to work under that front loop only. We're going to make a treble, so yarn over twice, and then insert your hook under the front loop only of that round 1 stitch, bend your work as much as you need to, pull up a loop, and then complete a treble. After that, don't work anything else into that very first stitch. It counts as worked because the treble is right in front of it. Into the next stitch, into the back loop only, single crochet 3 times. So 1, and then into the next stitch 2, and then into the next stitch 3. So 3 single crochets in the back loop only brings you to your next corner. Make your usual single crochet, chain 2, single crochet again. Now for a full side, we're going to single crochet in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches, and now treble, so yarn over twice. We're going to treble in the front loop only of the stitch 3 rounds below the next stitch. So we'll count again from the next stitch. We'll count 1, 2, 3 rounds below. Again, it's that round 1 stitch, but it can help to find it to count the horizontal bars downwards. Under the front loop only of that stitch, pull up a loop and complete your treble. Again, the stitch behind that treble counts as being worked because the treble's in front of it. So into the next stitch, single crochet in the back loop only. Actually, single crochet in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches. And then into the corner chain 2 space, you'll make your usual corner with a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, all in that same chain 2 space. So that's a full side of round 5. Here's what we did. We did our corner, then 3 single crochets in the back loop only, a treble in the front loop only of the stitch 3 rounds below the next stitch. That was the round 1 stitch. Then we did 3 single crochets in the back loop only and another corner. So go ahead and repeat that on the next 2 sides. After you do your last corner, all you need to do is single crochet in the back loop only of the last 3 stitches, then you can slip stitch to join, and that's round 5. I forgot to tell you at the end of round 5 that for round 6 you should go ahead and repeat round 3. So round 6 will just be a basic round of single crochet in the back loop only with your regular corners, and then meet me back here and we will do round 7. We'll begin round 7 with a chain 1 and single crochet in the back loop only of the first 3 stitches. That's 1, 2, and 3. Now our next stitch is going to be a treble, and we're going to place this treble in the front loop only of the stitch 1 round below and 3 stitches behind our next stitch. So we're going to count this out. I'm yarning over twice for a treble and counting from my next stitch. I'm going to count 1 round below is this horizontal bar here, and if you look closely you can see that the bar is segmented. Each of those segments is a stitch. So we're going to count from this stitch here 1, 2, 3 stitches backwards, brings us to the front loop only of our round 5 treble. Under that front loop only, insert your hook, pull up a loop, and then complete your treble stitch. After that, that stitch that we counted from, that counts as worked. So into the next 2 stitches, into the back loop only, single crochet. 1 and 2. That brings us to our corner. In the corner, make a single crochet, chain 2, and another single crochet, just like always. Now let's do a full side of round 7. We're going to single crochet in the back loop only of the next 2 stitches. And now we're going to make a treble in the front loop only of the stitch 1 round below and 3 stitches ahead of our next stitch. So I'll yarn over twice for a treble and we'll count from our next stitch. I'm going to count 1 round below and then 1, 2, 3 stitches ahead is the front loop only of this round 5 treble. So under that front loop, I'm going to pull up a loop and then complete my treble. And that stitch that we counted from counts as worked. The treble will sit right in front of it. So into the next stitch, we're going to single crochet in the back loop only of the next 5 stitches, actually. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to make a treble in the front loop only of the stitch 1 round below and 3 stitches behind our next stitch. So I'll yarn over twice, counting from the next stitch, 1 round below, then 1, 2, 3 stitches behind. Again, it's the same front loop only that we worked the last treble into. So when you go around, when you keep working this around, you'll know it's actually the front loop only of the round 5 treble. So if you don't need to count, you can just go straight to that front loop, and both of your trebles this round on each side will go into that same front loop. Okay, so after that we're going to single crochet in the back loop only of the next 2 stitches. That will bring us to our corner, and we can make the usual single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet corner. Okay, let's take a look at this full side of round 7. Here's what we did. We did our regular corner, 2 single crochets in the back loop only. We did a treble in the front loop only of the stitch 1 round below and 3 stitches ahead of our next stitch. We did 5 single crochets in the back loop only. We did a treble in the front loop only of the stitch 1 round below and 3 stitches behind our next stitch. And then we did 2 single crochets in the back loop only and a corner. So go ahead and repeat that all the way around. And as you go, remember both trebles go into the front loop only of the treble before, the treble from round 5. So you don't really need to count it all. You can just find that treble, find the front loop, and work both of them into that front loop. Now you might notice that this front loop here is a little bit stretched and this treble might look a little funny. I promise that will all sort itself out as we add more rounds. Your stitches might look a little bit uneven or misshapen. That will sort itself out as we add more rounds and more special stitches in here. That they'll all sort of take shape and look better as we go. So go ahead and do that on the next 2 sides. When you come back to the very first side, you're going to do just the first 2 single crochets, the treble, into the same front loop only as the very first treble we worked, then 2 more single crochets in the back loop only, and then you'll slip stitch to join, and that's how you finish up that last half side of round 7. So that's round 7. Now for round 8. We'll start with a chain 1, and we're going to single crochet in the back loop only of the first 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now what we're going to do is make a treble. We're actually going to make trebles exactly the way we did in round 7, but we're going to just simply place them in a different stitch. So they're all going to go into the front loop only of the stitch 1 round below, and either 3 stitches behind or 3 stitches ahead. So first I'm going to yarn over twice to get ready for my treble, and I'm going to count from the next stitch. Now what I'm going to do different is I'm going to count the stitches behind first, and then I'll count rounds below. My preference is always to count rounds below, and it doesn't really matter which way you do it. That's just the way I seem to think about it. So I always count rounds below, or I say rounds below first, but it really doesn't matter which way you do it. So just because we're not going to be able to see very well because this stitch is in the way, what we're going to do is we're going to count back and forth, side to side first, and then we're going to count rounds below probably for the most of the rest of the square. Okay, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 stitches behind, and then 1 round below, and you can sort of move that stitch out of the way if you need to so that you can see this segment right here is the front loop only of the stitch 1 round below. So I counted from the next stitch 1, 2, 3 stitches behind and 1 round below. So I'm going to go under that front loop, pull up a loop, and complete my treble. So the treble was, we counted exactly the same amount of stitches as this previous treble, but now it's moved out to the side just a little bit. So instead of going into the stitch right in the middle, it's just to the side, so they're just going to be a little bit wider. Okay, so the stitch behind that counts as worked, so into the next 2 stitches, I'm going to single crochet in the back loop only. And that will bring me to the corner. I'll make my usual single crochet, chain 2, and another single crochet in the corner. Okay, now for our full side of round 8, we'll start with single crochets in the back loop only of the next 2 stitches. Now we're going to make another treble, so yarn over twice, and we're going to count from our next stitch. We're going to count ahead 1, so don't count the next stitch, you'll count the stitch after that as 1, 2, 3, and then 1 round below. Under that front loop only, pull up a loop and complete your treble. Then single crochet in the back loop only of the next 7 stitches. So make sure you don't work into the one that you counted from, that one counts as worked, into the next one, which technically is the treble from the previous round. Into the back loop only of that treble is what you're going to start with. A single crochet there, and in a total of 7 stitches across. It's 4, 5, 6, and 7. And what I want you to notice is that those 7 stitches, those 7 single crochets, go from, they started in this treble from round 7 and they ended in this treble from round 7, so just straight across. So your trebles in this round are just 1 stitch outside of the trebles from the previous round. Okay, so now yarn over twice, we're going to treble again, and we're going to count from the next stitch, 1 stitch behind, 2, 3 stitches behind, move this treble out of the way, and go 1 round below. Under that front loop only, pull up a loop, and then complete your treble. Then into the next 2 stitches, single crochet in the back loop only. Those should be your last 2 stitches of the side. And then you're at your corner, you can single crochet, chain 2, single crochet again in your corner. Okay, let's take a look at what we did here. Here's a full side of round 8. We did our normal corner, then 2 single crochets in the back loop only. Then we did a treble in the front loop only. We counted 1, 2, 3 stitches ahead and 1 round below and worked under that front loop only. Then we did 7 single crochets in the back loop only. The first one started in this treble from round 7 and the last one was in this treble from round 7. So we really just worked single crochets from treble to treble of the previous round. And then we did another treble. For this one we counted 1, 2, 3 stitches behind and 1 round below and worked into the front loop only of that stitch. Then we did 2 single crochets in the back loop only and another corner. So that's a full side of round 8. Go ahead and make that on the next 2 sides. For the very last little half side of round 8, what you'll do is you'll make your 2 single crochets. You'll make this treble in the front loop only of the stitch, 1, 2, 3 stitches ahead and 1 round below. And then you'll finish up by making just the last 3 single crochets. So just 1, 2, 3 will be your last stitches, and then you'll slip stitch to the first stitch to join. And that is round 8. Now for round 9, which is pretty similar to round 8. There's just a couple more single crochets we need to make. So what we do is we'll single crochet, or we'll chain 1 to start, and then we'll single crochet in the back loop only of the first 5 stitches. And the 5th one will land in that treble from round 8. After that, we're going to treble just the same way as we did in round 8. So yarn over twice, and we'll count from the next stitch. We're going to count 1, 2, 3 stitches behind, and then move that treble kind of out of the way so you can see, and then 1 round below. Under that front loop only, pull up a loop and complete your treble. Then into the next 2 stitches in the back loop only, single crochet. Then make your usual corner, single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet again. Okay, now let's do a full side of round 9. We'll start with 2 single crochets in the back loop only. Well, 1 in each of the next 2 stitches, sorry. Okay, so now there's 1 stitch before the treble from round 8, so that's perfect. Now what we're going to do is treble, so yarn over twice, and we'll count from the next stitch. 1, 2, 3 stitches ahead, move the treble out of your way if you need to, and then 1 round below, under that front loop only, pull up a loop and complete a treble. Now into the next 9 stitches, we're going to single crochet in the back loop only. These 9 stitches will extend from this round 8 treble to this round 8 treble. Your very next stitch is that round 8 treble, so in the back loop only, single crochet in the next 9 stitches total. Like I said, just like in the previous round, it goes from treble to treble of the previous round. And that's 9. Okay, now we're going to make another treble. So yarn over twice, and we're counting from the next stitch, 1, 2, 3 stitches behind, and 1 round below into that front loop only, and we'll make another treble. Then single crochet in the back loop only of the next 2 stitches, and that brings you to your next corner, which you can make just like always. Okay, so now let's look at a full side of round 9. So we did our corner, and just like always, single crochet, chain 2 single crochet, then 2 single crochets in the back loop only. Then we did a treble in the front loop only of the stitch, 3 stitches ahead and 1 round below. Then we did 9 single crochets in the back loop only. Then we did another treble in the front loop only of the stitch, 3 stitches behind and 1 round below. Then 2 single crochets in the back loop only and another corner. So that's a full side of round 9. Go ahead and repeat that on the next 2 sides. But what I wanted you to notice is that your trebles, again, just like in the last round, the trebles are worked 1 stitch on the outside of the previous round, and the single crochets extend from this round 8 treble to that round 8 treble, those 9 single crochets. So it's kind of easy to know that to help you keep your place. Now when you come back around and you do this last half side of round 9, you'll make your last corner and then 2 single crochets in the back loop only. Then you'll do this treble here, front loop only stitch, 3 stitches ahead and 1 round below. And then all you need to do is do 4 single crochets in the back loop only. Those will be your last 4 stitches. Then you can slip stitch to that very first stitch to join. And that's round 9. Now for round 10. This round is a bit of a doozy, but I promise if we just take it slow, I'll show you some tricks, and it's really not that hard with some tricks that I'm going to show you. So we're going to chain 1 to begin, and then our very first stitch is the doozy stitch. It's a double crochet 7 together. So it's going to have 7 legs. Yes, that's a lot, but I will show you how to place them. It's really not too bad when you see it done. Okay, ready? So we're going to yarn over once, and we're going to count from our very first stitch. The very first leg of this double crochet 7 together is going to go in the front loop only of the stitch in 1 round below and 2 stitches behind our first stitch. So we're going to count out the first leg. The first leg goes 1 round below, and then 1, 2, be careful not to count your slip stitch, 1, 2 stitches behind into that front loop only. Now that front loop only, you can also note, is exactly 1 round above where we placed this treble from round 9. So however you want to find it, you can count out 1 round below, 1, 2 stitches behind, or you can just count up 1 stitch from where you made your treble in round 10. So under that front loop only, pull up a loop, then yarn over, you're actually going to need to pull that up to the height of your work, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, now our second leg is going to go 2 rounds below and 2 stitches behind. So yarn over once, and you can count from the first stitch, 1 round below, 2 rounds below, don't count your slip stitch, 1 stitch behind, 2 stitches behind, and you'll see that it's the same exact front loop that your treble from round 10 was made into. So under that same front loop, pull up a loop, and then pull it up to the height of your work. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, now yarn over again. We're counting from the same stitch. We're going to count 1, 2, 3 rounds below and 1 stitch behind. Is the same front loop that the round 8 treble was made into which the round 8 treble was made. Under that front loop, pull up a loop, pull it up to the height of your work, about that high, yarn over and pull through 2 loops on your hook. Now yarn over again. We're on leg 4, counting from the first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds below is the same front loop as this treble from round 5 and that our round 7 trebles were made into. So into that same front loop, so you're going to go from underneath into that same front loop right between the 2 trebles, pull up a loop and pull it up to the height of your work, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Now yarn over again. We're on leg 5. It's a little bit hard to see where we're counting from, so however you need to bend your work so you can see it. There's my stitch right there. This time I'm going to count forward first so I can see better. 1 stitch forward and 1, 2, 3 stitches below, 3 rounds below is the same front loop as the round 8 treble was made. So into that front loop, pull up a loop and then pull them to the height of your work. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over again, and counting from that first stitch, 1, 2 stitches ahead and then 1, 2 rounds below is the same front loop into which we made our round 9 treble. So into that front loop, pull up a loop, pull it to the height of my work, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now the last one I am going to have to count from this first stitch. 1, 2, 3 stitches, 3 stitches? No, just 2. From the first stitch, 1, 2 stitches ahead and 1 round below. It's a little hard to see, but it's right there. Pulling up a loop, pull it up to the height of my work. Oh, I didn't yarn over first. Hold on. I lost my yarn over. So yarn over once, and then into that front loop, pull up a loop, pull it up to the height of my work. Doesn't need to be too high because it's not that far. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, so there's all 7 of my legs. I've got 8 loops on my hook, and I'll yarn over and pull through 7. So all but 1 of those loops. Pull through 7 loops on my hook, all but the last one, and then I'll yarn over and pull through those last 2 loops. That just gives me a nice pointed shape here. And that's our double crochet 7 together. So let's go ahead and look at that again. The first leg was made into the front loop only of the stitch 2 stitches behind and 1 round below. That front loop only is the front loop only that's immediately above where this round 9 treble was made. Then the next 5 legs were all made into the same front loops as these trebles. So we just did 1, 2, 3 right in the middle of these 2, 4, and 5 all the way around. So we only needed to count that first one and the last one. The 7th one was 1 round below and 2 stitches ahead. We only needed to count those 2, and when we come back, when we do the full side, I'll show you you actually only will need to count out the 7th leg when we do the next one. So that's how those are placed. It's really not too bad when you see that they all go into stitches that are already kind of marked for you. Okay, after you do your double crochet 7 together, into the next 4 stitches, single crochet in the back loop only. Okay, your next stitch that you would work into is the top 2 loops of the treble from round 9. What we're going to do is treble in the front loop only of the stitch. We're going to count 3 stitches behind and 1 round below, but we've actually already found that stitch. It is the same front loop only that our 7th leg of the double crochet 7 together was made into. So you could count, if you wanted, from this stitch 1, 2, 3 behind and 1 below, or you can just find that front loop only where you made the 7th leg, and under that front loop pull up a loop and make a treble. So this treble is actually aligned straight over the treble below it. So unlike the last few rounds where we were moving our trebles outward by 1 stitch, this one is actually lined up straight with the one below it. Now single crochet in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches. that should bring you to your corner. So single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet in your corner. Okay, now let's do a full side. We'll start with single crochets in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches. Your next stitch should be the treble from round 9. Again, we're going to make another treble aligned straight with this one. We're not working outward anymore. We're aligning this one straight. So right above that one, we're going to make another treble. So yarn over twice and count from your next stitch 1, 2, 3 stitches ahead and 1 round below. Into that front loop only, make a treble. Now single crochet in the back loop only of the next 4 stitches. Okay, now it's time to make another double crochet 7 together. This one is going to be even easier, if you don't mind me using that word, even easier than the last one because one of our stitches, our very first stitch, is already marked. So I'm not going to count this one at all. I just want you to see me do it looking at the front loop only of the stitches I've already made. So I'm yarning over once and into the same front loop as the treble I just made a few stitches ago, into the same front loop where I made that treble, pulling up a loop, pull it to the height of my work, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. There's my first leg. Yarn over, my second leg goes into the treble just below that, or I'm sorry, into the same front loop as the treble just below that. So under that front loop, pull up a loop, pull it up to the height of my work, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And there's my second leg. My third leg goes into the same front loop as the treble just under that. So yarn over, under that front loop right there, pull up a loop, pull it up to the height of my work, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, the next one goes straight down into the front loop only that the round 7 trebles were made into, which is the front loop of this round 5 treble. So right in the middle of those 2 trebles, pull up a loop, pull it up to the height of my work, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Alright, that is my fourth leg, yarn over again, and then the next treble is this one right here. So I already worked into the same loop as this treble, so now I'm working up into the front loop only where this treble was made, pull up a loop, pull it up to the height of my work, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over again, the next treble up from that was made into this front loop right here, pull up a loop, pull it to the height of my work, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now that's 6 of my legs. I'm going to yarn over once and we're going to make the 7th leg. You can count it if you want, or just find the front loop that you just worked into and work into the one immediately above it. That's the one you want. Pull up a loop, pull it to the height of your work, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And that's all 7 legs. Now we yarn over and pull through 7 loops, not the last one, then yarn over and pull through those last 2 loops. Don't worry if they're a little bit longer than they should be. That actually is not going to be a bad thing later. Okay, so that's our double crochet 7 together. That's not too bad when you see that the placement is all pretty much spelled out for you. After you do that, we're going to single crochet in the back loop only of the next 4 stitches. Now we're going to treble, so yarn over twice, in the front loop only of the stitch, 3 stitches behind and 1 round below. But there's another cheat. It's actually the same front loop that the 7th leg was made into, just like we did on the other side. So you can just find that loop, insert your hook, pull up a loop, and complete your treble. Then single crochet in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches. That takes you to your corner, and you can make your usual corner, and then we'll take a look at what we did. Okay. Whew. So here's a full side of round 10. I promise this is the hardest round. After this it gets easier. Okay, so we did our corner, then we did 3 single crochets in the back loop only. Then we did a double crochet in the front loop only of the stitch 1, 2, 3 stitches ahead and 1 round below, and that is actually the only time we really need to count our stitches on this side. So we did a treble, front loop only stitch, 3 stitches ahead, 1 round below. Then we did single crochets in the back loop only of the next 4 stitches, and then came our our double crochet 7 together. 7. So our first leg went into the same front loop only as this treble. The second went into the same front loop only as this treble. The third went into the same front loop only as this treble. The fourth is the middle one. It went into the same front loop only as these 2 trebles, and right in between them. That's this treble right here from round 5. Then our 5th leg went into the same front loop only as this treble. Now we're working back upward. The 6th leg went into the same front loop only as this treble, and this treble had not yet been made. So what we did was we found the front loop only of that leg 6, where we worked leg 6, and we just counted 1 front loop up from that, and that's where we made our 7th leg. Then after you did that, you yarned over and pulled through 7 loops, just 7. So you had 2 left on your hook, and then you pulled through the last 2. That's important to get a sort of diamond-like shape up here. Then we single crocheted in the back loop only of the next 4 stitches. Then we did a treble in the same front loop as leg 7 of our double crochet 7 together. Into that same front loop we did a treble, so we didn't even need to count that one. Then we did 3 single crochets in the back loop only, and that brought us to our next corner. So that's a full side of round 10. So go ahead and repeat that on the next 2 sides. And to finish up this last little bit of round 10, the first/last side of round 10, you'll just do your 3 single crochets in the back loop only after your last corner, 3 single crochets in the back loop only, this treble into the front loop only of the stitch 3 stitches ahead and 1 round below, which will actually be the same front loop as your very first leg of your first double crochet 7 together. It'll actually be the same front loop as that. And then you'll do 4 single crochets in the back loop only, and those will be your very last stitches. Then you can slip stitch to the top 2 loops of your first stitch, your very first double crochet 2 together, to join, and that's it. That is round 10, and I hope that's not too bad. I hope that we counted things out nicely and found some easy ways to do that. That's round 10. I promise everything after this will be easier. Now for round 11. We're going to start round 11 by chaining 2. A little different this time. This chain 2 counts as the chain 1 that we usually do to bring our yarn up to the height of our work. And then the second chain counts as a chain 1 space. And we're going to skip the first stitch. So it's like that chain 1 space is now hovering above the first stitch. We're going to work into the next stitch. After that, we're going to make a single crochet in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches. So into the second stitch, single crochet in the back loop only, and then the next stitch and the next stitch. So 1, 2, 3. And we skipped that very first stitch. Now we're going to make a treble, and so you'll notice we're 1 stitch before the treble from the previous round. So now we're working trebles in a similar manner as the previous rounds, but we're working them inward. So we're going to bring our shape inside. Instead of growing it outwards, we're going to taper it up now. So now yarn over twice, we're going to make a treble. Counting from this stitch, we're going to count 1, 2, 3 stitches behind, and you might need to move that leg of your stitch down so you can see 1 round below. Into that front loop only, pull up a loop, and then finish your treble. After that, single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch, just 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a double crochet. So yarn over once, counting from the next stitch, we're going to make this double crochet in the front loop only of the stitch one round below, and one stitch ahead. So just right there. Just a regular double crochet. Then into the next stitch, single crochet in the back loop only. Now we're going to make another double, counting from the next stitch, one round below and one stitch behind. It's the same loop as the last double was made. And then single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch. That should bring you to your corner. You can make your usual corner. Single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Okay, now let's look at a full side of round 11. We're going to start with a single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch. Then we're going to double crochet in the front loop only of the stitch, one round below and one stitch ahead of our next stitch. Then single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch. Then double crochet in the front loop only of the stitch, one round below, one stitch behind, the same front loop as the last double crochet. Then single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch, which is the treble from the last round. And now we're going to make a treble. So yarn over twice, counting from the next stitch, count 1, 2, 3 stitches ahead, and then if you need to, move your double crochet 7 together out of the way. So that was 1, 2, 3 stitches ahead and one round below. Into that front loop only is where you'll place your treble. Then single crochet in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches. Now, if you're working around and you're working on this last half side, this would be your very last stitch before you slip stitch to join, and you'll slip stitch to the chain 2 space, just right in the middle of the chain 2 space. Don't worry about getting either of the chains, just go right in the middle of it. So that would be your last stitch on that side. But for the full side, we'll continue on by making a chain 1. We're going to skip the top 2 loops of the double crochet 7 together, skip those entirely, work into the back loop only, single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Then treble, so yarn over twice, counting from the next stitch, 1, 2, 3 stitches behind and one round below. Into the front loop only, make a treble. Then single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch. Then double crochet, counting from the next stitch, double crochet in the front loop only of the stitch, one round below and one stitch ahead. Then single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch. Then double in the front loop only of the stitch, one round below, one stitch behind, or the same front loop as the last double crochet you made. Then single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch, and that should bring you to your corner. Make your usual corner. Okay, let's take a look at what we did here. Here's a full side of round 11. So we did our normal corner, then we did 1 single crochet in the back loop only. Then we did a double crochet in the front loop only of the stitch, one round below and one stitch ahead. Then we did 1 single crochet in the back loop only. Then we did a double crochet in the same front loop as that last double crochet. Then we did 1 single crochet in the back loop only. Then we did a treble in the front loop only of the stitch, 3 stitches ahead and one round below. Then we did 3 single crochets in the back loop only, and that 3rd single crochet will be your last stitch when you do this last half side before you slip stitch to the chain 2 space to join. And then for the full side, so we did those last 3 single crochets, and then we did a chain 1 and we skipped the double crochet 7 together entirely. We skipped right over it and worked into the next 3 stitches with single crochets in the back loop only. Then we did a treble in the front loop only of the stitch, 3 stitches behind and one round below. Then we did 1 single crochet in the back loop only. Then we did a double crochet in the front loop only of the stitch, one round below and one stitch ahead. then we did 1 single crochet in the back loop only, then we did a double crochet in the same front loop as the last double crochet, then 1 single crochet in the back loop only, and that brought us to our corner. So that's a full side of round 11. Go ahead and do that all the way around, and do that last half side like I showed you. And like I said, when you slip stitch to join, just go ahead and work right into the chain 2 space. You don't need to get one of the chains or the other, just work right into the chain 2 space. That's fine like that. And that is round 11. Now for round 12. Let's start by chaining 2. Just like last round, the first chain is just the chain that brings us up to the height of our work, and the second chain counts as the chain 1 space, so it'll sort of hover above this last chain 1 space. We're going to skip the chain 1 space and work into the next stitch into the back loop only single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Now what I want you to do is treble crochet. We're going to treble crochet into the stitch that is 1 round below and 3 stitches behind. Just like all these other trebles we've done 1 round below and 3 stitches behind. We're going to do this one the same way, except that I will tell you right now, the stitch you're going to work into is the double crochet 7 together from round 10. So what I want you to do is not work into the front loop. I want you to keep your work in front of the chain spaces, and I want you to work into both loops of the double crochet 7 together. So let's yarn over twice, and then just go ahead and find the top 2 loops of that double crochet 7 together. Find those top 2 loops and make a treble into that. It's very important that you work into both loops. If you work only into the front loop, it will get really stretched out. So work into both loops. After that, single crochet in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches. Now I want you to make a half treble into the front loop only of the stitch 2 rounds below. So yarn over twice, and I'll show you how to make a half treble. The stitch 2 rounds below, the front loop only of the stitch 2 rounds below, happens to be the same front loop only that these 2 double crochets were made into. So you don't actually need to count it out. You can if you want to, but you don't need to. Just find that front loop, and I want you to insert your hook under that front loop between the 2 double crochets and pull up a loop. Now I want you to yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through 3 loops, and that's a half treble. After that, single crochet in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches. That should bring you to your corner. Go ahead and make your usual single crochet, chain 2, single crochet corner. Now let's do a full side of round 12. We're going to start with 3 single crochets in the back loop only. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to make another half treble into the same front loop as these double crochets were made, right in between them. So yarn over twice and insert your hook under that front loop, right between the double crochets. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, then yarn over, pull through 3 loops, and that's a half treble. Now single crochet in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches. Now we're going to make more trebles into the stitch that is 1 round below and 3 stitches ahead, which is, again, it's the double crochet 7 together from round 10. So you're going to work in front of the chain 1 space from the last round. Yarn over twice, insert your hook into both loops of the double crochet 7 together, pull up a loop, and then make your treble. After that, single crochet in the back loop only of the next 2 stitches. Just 2. That should take you to your next stitch will be the chain 1 space from the last round. Chain 1 and skip that chain 1 space. Into the next stitch, single crochet in the back loop only twice. So 2 single crochets in the back loop only. Now make another treble into the double crochet 7 together into both loops. Very important, both loops of that double crochet 7 together. Make a treble. Now single crochet in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches. Now we're going to make a half treble into the same front loop that we made these double crochets. So yarn over twice, insert your hook into the same front loop as those double crochets, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 3 loops for a half treble. Then single crochet in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches. That will take you to your corner. Make your usual single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet again in the corner. Okay, so here's a full side of round 12. Let's look at what we did. We did our regular corner, and then we did 3 single crochets in the back loop only. Then we did a half treble in the front loop only of the stitch 2 rounds below, which happens to be the same front loop only as these double crochets from round 11. So we worked our half treble right between the double crochets into the same loop. Then we did 3 single crochets in the back loop only. Then we made a treble into both loops of the double crochet 7 together. We kept it in front of the chain 1, the chain 1 space that was right above it. Kept them in front of that and into both loops of the double crochet 7 together. Then we did 2 single crochets in the back loop only. Then we did a chain 1 and we skipped the chain 1 space directly below it. Then we did 2 single crochets in the back loop only. Then we made another treble into both loops of the double crochet 7 together. Then we did 3 single crochets in the back loop only, a half treble into the same front loop as these 2 double crochets from round 11. Then we did 3 single crochets in the back loop only. That was a full side of round 11. So go ahead and do that on the next 2 sides. Do your last corner, and then to finish up this last side, you'll just do the 3 single crochets in the back loop only, these 3, then the half treble in between the 2 double crochets from the last round, 3 single crochets in the back loop only, then you'll do this treble into the top 2 loops of the double crochet 7 together. You'll do these 2 single crochets, and those will be your last 2 stitches, and then you'll slip stitch to the chain 2 space to join, just like we did last round. That's how you do that last little half side of round 12. And that is round 12. Now for round 13. Start with a chain 1 and then single crochet in the chain 1 space. After that, single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch. Just 1. Now what I want you to do is treble, so yarn over twice, and I want you to treble into the same stitch as the trebles we made in the last round. So into the 2 loops of the double crochet 7 together. They might not look like they're really attached to the double crochet 7 together anymore, because these will be pulling up on it. So just find these 2 trebles. You can scooch them apart if you need to, because what you're going to do is insert your hook under those 2 loops and in between the 2 trebles from the last round, and then complete your treble. So here's the treble from last round, and here's the other treble from last round, and I made this new treble right in between the 2 of them into the same 2 loops that they were worked into. After that, you just need to single crochet in the back loop only of the next 9 stitches. That will take you to your corner. You can make your usual corner, single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. Okay, now let's look at a full side of round 13. We're going to start by single crocheting in the back loop only of the next 9 stitches. That's 9. The 9th one falls into this treble from the previous round. Okay, after you've made 9 single crochets in the back loop only, you're going to make a treble into the very same loops that you made the trebles from the last round. So you find the trebles from the last round, trace them down to the loops they were worked into, insert your hook under those loops and between the 2 trebles, and make a new treble right there. Just like that. So there's the treble from last round, there's the other treble from last round, and I made a new one right in between them into the same exact loops. After that, single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch. That single crochet will be your very last stitch when you work this last half side of this round. That will be your last stitch before you slip stitch to the first single crochet to join. But we're working on a full side now, so next we'll single crochet in the chain 1 space. Then we'll single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch. Then we're going to treble into the same 2 loops as the last treble. We're going to keep it between the last treble we made and the next treble from the previous round. So right between these 2 trebles, I'm going to insert my hook into the same loops and make a treble. Just like that. So you've got 4 trebles all coming up from the same set of loops, and the 2 new ones we made go right in between, so they're a nice little spread like that. Okay, after that, all you need to do is single crochet in the back loop only of the next 9 stitches. That should take you to your corner. You can make your usual corner, and then we'll just do a quick review of what we did. Okay, so here's a full side of round 13. We did our regular corner, then we did 9 single crochets in the back loop only. Then we did a treble in the same front loop only as the trebles from round 12, but we kept it between the 2 trebles from round 12. Then we did a single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch, a single crochet in that middle chain 1, a single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch, and then we did another treble into the same exact loops. So our first treble this round and our second treble this round fit right between the 2 trebles from the previous round into the same loops of the double crochet 7 together. After that treble, we just did 9 single crochets in the back loop only, and that was our full side of round 13. And so go ahead and do that on the next 2 sides, and then on the last side, go ahead and do your 9 single crochets in the back loop only, your treble, and then 1 single crochet in the back loop only. Then you can slip stitch to the first single crochet to join, and that is round 13. Now for round 14, start with a chain 1 and single crochet in the back loop only of the very first stitch. Now what we're going to do is make a treble, and we're going to make it into the chain 1 space from round 11. So if you remember, in the last round we single crocheted into the chain 1 space, the chain 1 space from round 12. And under that, and so you might need to pull these down a little bit so you can see, is the chain 1 space from round 11. So under the single crochet and kind of behind these trebles, you're going to find the chain 1 space from round 11. So go ahead and identify that. I maybe should have told you to put stitch marker in there, but it's really not too hard to find. Once you pull these down, you can see it much better. So into that chain one space, insert your hook, and then make your treble. Then you just need to single crochet in the back loop only of the next 11 stitches. And that's 10 and 11. That should take you to your corner. So make your regular single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet in the corner. Now for a full side of round 14, we're going to start with single crochets in the back loop only of the next 11 stitches. And 11. Okay, now what we're going to do is make a treble into the chain one space from round 11. So yarn over twice for our treble, and technically the chain one space we're looking for is 1 stitch ahead and 2 rounds below, but it's so much easier just to find the chain one space from round 11. So just pull these trebles kind of out of your way, find that chain one space behind them, insert your hook, and then make a treble. Just like that. Then single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch and make another treble into the same chain one space. Might want to move that one over a little bit. Into the same chain one space, make another treble. Just like so. Then all you need to do is single crochet in the back loop only of the next 11 stitches. I'm not going to show them all to you, so just pretend I made all 11 of them. So that's a full side of round 14. You'll just go ahead and make your corner, single crochet in the back loop only of 11 stitches, and then you're going to make a treble into the chain one space from round 11. Then you're going to single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch, that's the middle right there, then treble again in the same chain one space from round 11, and then make single crochets in the back loop only of the next 11 stitches. That will take you to your corner, and go ahead and do that all the way around. To do this last side, what you'll do is make your last corner, then single crochet in the back loop only of the next 11 stitches, make a treble into the chain one space from round 11. You already have one made into that chain one space, the very first one, so you'll just make it into the exact same space. Then you can slip stitch to the first stitch to join, and that's it. That is round 14. Now for round 15. In round 15, we're going to start with a chain 1, and we're just going to do one special stitch on each side, and that's going to be a treble. So yarn over twice, we're going to make this treble right here in the middle, and we're going to make it into the same chain 1 space as the 2 trebles from round 14. So what you can do is just trace those 2 trebles down, find the chain 1 space they were in by sort of pulling them apart until you can see that little bump there is the chain 1 space. So I'm going to insert my hook into the chain 1 space between the 2 trebles from round 14, and then pull up a loop so that I can make a treble. Just like that, right between those 2 trebles from round 14. After that, all I need to do is single crochet in the back loop only of the next 13 stitches. After those 13 single crochets, I will make my corner with a single crochet, chain 2, and then another single crochet, just like we've always been doing. Okay, now on to the next side. So a full side of round 15. We're going to start with single crochets in the back loop only of the next 13 stitches. And that's 13. Now I'm going to make another treble, so yarn over twice, into the same chain 1 space as the 2 round 14 trebles. So I'll just follow them down, find that chain 1 space in there, and right between the 2 round 14 trebles, I'll insert my hook, pull up a loop, and then make a new treble. Then after that, all I need to do is single crochet in the back loop only of the next 13 stitches, which will take me to my next corner. I won't show you all those, that's a little excessive, you don't need to see me single crochet more. So that's a full side of round 15 is just after our corner, 13 single crochets in the back loop only, a treble into the same chain 1 space that we made the round 14 trebles into. Right between the round 14 trebles into that same chain 1 space, we make a new treble. Then 13 single crochets in the back loop only will take you to your next corner. So go ahead and do that all the way around. To finish up this last side, this last half side of round 15, all you need to do is single crochet in the back loop only of the next 13 stitches, and that will take you to the very end. You can slip stitch to your first stitch to join, and that's it. That is round 15. Now it's time to wrap up our square with round 16. Let's chain 1, and then what I want you to do is single crochet into both loops of the very first stitch. Both loops. Now single crochet into both loops of each stitch across to the corner. We're just going to put on a basic round, oops, that one did not go well. Okay, we're just going to put on a basic round of single crochet into both loops just to finish up our square, give it a nice sturdy edge, and it'll be easy to join this way. Just makes everything nice and neat and clean. So all the way across to the next corner. Oops. And nothing special for the corner, just make your regular single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet again in the corner. Nothing special for the corner, just make your usual corner. Then go ahead and work down the next side. Single crochet in both loops all the way across to the next corner. Nothing special to see here, that's it. So that's it, that's what I want you to do. All the way around your square, just do a nice round of single crochet into both loops all the way around. When you get back to the very first stitch, just slip stitch to join, fasten off, weave in your ends, and that's it. Your One for My Baby square is done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed making this one. I hope you enjoyed the crochet along. This is our very last square for the crochet along, so I really hope you enjoyed the series. If you're just joining us for this square, go ahead and check out the other videos. I hope you like those too. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in our next videos for the border. Have fun.